Welcome to Go Math Lesson 1-3. Today we're talking about least common multiple. So in our previous lesson we talked about factoring things, breaking things down into smaller manageable chunks. So what numbers multiplied together would make the original number, those are factors. But today we're going to be talking about LCM, or least common multiple. One of the biggest points of confusion for students is whether we're talking about factors or we're talking about multiples. So factors are breaking things down, but multiples we're multiplying. So when I see this multiple, I know that I have to multiply up. So if we were taking two numbers, let's say for example 3 and 7, we'll get my pen working here, 3 and 7. You might say to yourself, well, if I'm supposed to factor, there are no factors here. I always make a little note when I read the directions carefully, which is important. Least common multiple. What are the multiples of 3? So we start with 3 times 1. Is 3. 3 times 2, 6. 3 times 3, 9. And we'll just go on with some multiples of 3 right now. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, and 30. I'll go ahead and I usually write out 5 or 6, and I'll find my answer within those first 5 or 6. We do the same thing with multiples of 7. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14, and we'll go ahead and just lay out a couple of those. 7, 14, 21, 28. I stop myself there because I see a common multiple. 21 appears in the multiples of both 3 and 7. I always want to go back and check my work though. Is there any other smaller number, least, meaning the smallest amount, common, a number that they share, and a multiple, we're multiplying them out. Is there any other number that could be an LCM, or a least common multiple, of 3 and 7? No, I don't see any. So the LCM of 3 and 7 is 21. Now what would that look like if we tried it in a larger problem, like a word problem? In an experiment, each flower pot will get 1 seed. If the flower pots are in packages of 6 and the seeds are in packets of 8, what is the least number of plants that can be grown without any seeds or pots left over? This usually comes up in the hot dog bun debate, because hot dog buns are sold in packs of 12 and hot dogs are sold in packs of 10 or 18. So you have to buy more of one or the other, and that leads you to buy more. Now, helping us group things to get just the perfect amount is where the least common multiple would come up. So for example, if we make a list of the first 8 non-zero multiples of 6 and 8, I love how they have to tell you that it's non-zero. Yes, 0 is the least common multiple of every number. We're not going there. So we start with our multiples of 6. We have 6, we have 12, we have 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48. And we have our multiples of 8. We have 8, we have 16, we have 24, we have 32, we have 40, we have 48. You know, and I'm stopping myself right there. I should finish it out, but I'm going to stop myself right there because I do see a common multiple. Least common multiple. I might say to myself, well, can't I just multiply them together? Like I did with 3 and 7, right? 3 times 7 is 21. I found out the least common multiple of 3 and 7 is 21. 6 times 8 is 48. Wouldn't that work? Yes, every time you multiply them together, you're going to get a common multiple, but it's not always the least common multiple. Because as I go back and I make a connection there, and I'm really tempted to just say, oh, 48's the common multiple. But is it the least common multiple? Again, they tell you least right in the problem. I go back and I check my work, which is important. Does 6 show up in both? No. Does 8? No. 12, no. 16, no. 18, no. 24. 24 is the least common multiple of 6 and 8. So you can get a common multiple by multiplying them together, but you always want to go back and check your work. I don't see, as I'm going through here, I don't see any other common multiples. No, 32, no. So here's a common multiple, and here's a common multiple. What is the least common multiple of 6 and 8 would be 24, right there. You always want to take the time to write out your work, show your work. It seems like extra work in the moment, but it actually saves you in the long run. Because if I was doing this in my head, I would have to go back and do this problem multiple times over just to check my work. Whereas if I'm writing out my work, my answer, my notes, I only have to do this problem once, and then I can go back and manipulate it and work through it. So it's very important that you actually write out your work. That way, you can save yourself a little brain power and common mistakes. Okay, so least common multiple, what is the lowest number that is a multiple of both numbers that they share, that's common between them. This helps us group things into smaller, manageable chunks.